And now we can see that the image is present right over here. There is practically a single image, but as we haven't mentioned whether the image should be repeating or not, that is why the default case is repeat. So this image is in actuality being repeated along with the width of this individual div element, as we can see right over here. On the other hand, if we first of all set a definite margin, like we had set this margin bottom, so instead of margin bottom, if we specify that from top it will be leaving a 0 pix margin, from right there will be another 0 pix, and from the bottom it will be 3 rem, and in the last case there won't be any margin from this extreme left. So all of them are being depicted right over here. Another thing, instead of this margin 0 0 3 rem 0, all we can do, we may set here 0 auto 3 rem. So what it is going to do exactly, from the top it is going to leave no margin into our div element right over here. From both the sides and along, they are auto calculating the margin, and from the bottom they are about to leave a margin bottom of 3 rem. So if we now head back to our project and reload, we can see that this will be the result. The div class background testing, it is practically lying in the exact middle, and it is leaving a margin bottom of 3 rem from the bottom, as we can see right over here. Now let's hop back into the image, into the background image that we are actually talking about. In the next case, we wish that this image, it won't be repeating by nature. That means we want to stop the repetitive nature of this individual image along with the width of this div element right over here. So in that particular case, next we need to specify the no repeat condition. So if we now specify this no repeat condition right over here, and if we reload, we can see that we are practically able to stop the repeating of the image along with the div element. In the next case, if we wish to specify the position of the image, in that particular case, we need to mention that the image from top and center. So the image, it will be lying along the central position and the topmost position of this div element using the class name of background testing. Now if we head back to our project and reload, we can see that the exact same thing happens here. The image now lies at the central position along the x-axis. The image is now placed on the top of this div class element. So all of them are being used right over here. In the last case, if we wish to use a background color along with this individual's image that we had used as the background image, then all we need to do, we need to specify it something like this one. There it goes. Press Ctrl S, head back to your project and reload, and now you can see that our image is now ready, our background is now ready, everything is now ready into this individual div element, which is using a class name of background testing. It has its own definite background color, it has its own definite background image, and on the other hand, the image has a definite position from top, and it is lying at the central position of this individual div element. And as we can see here, that the background image is not repetitive in nature. So instead of, let's make some kind of experiment. Instead of no repeat condition, if we place here this individual syntax of repeat x, press Ctrl S, head back, reload, and you can see that the image is practically repeating itself along with the x-axis. In the similar fashion, if we use here this repeat y condition, then we will be seeing that the image will be repeating just along the vertical width of this individual div class background testing element. So instead of this repeat x, repeat y, let's first of all reset it to no repeat condition, that we had seen earlier, that we had used earlier. There it goes. And in the next case, all we are going to do, this instead of this top, we will be now using this bottom, and instead of this center, we will be placing this image in the extreme right condition. So what will be the outcome? Press Ctrl S, head back to your project and reload. And now we can see that the image is now practically residing at the bottom of this div element, and it is lying at the extreme right position of the same. Now before we move on, the last thing that I would like to specify you, in specifying this individual color, we used here for say this individual hex color code. Now for the time being, let's remove the color that we had used, turning it as a black color div element. Instead of this individual hex color code, if we use here the syntax of RGBA that says along this red channel the value will be 0 bit, the G channel the value will be 0, the B channel the value will be 0, and the alpha opacity it will be set to for say 0.2. There it goes. Now if we press Ctrl S and head back, reload, we can see that we are practically able to make our background a little bit of less opaque. It is having a lesser opacity. As we had set this background alpha condition to 0.2. So the maximum value is here. We may set this maximum value to 1 if we want the full level opacity of this background element. And if we wish to use no visibility for this alpha opacity channel, then it should be set to 0. Press Ctrl S, head back, and you can see that this will be the result. The background color is practically gone. So we may use both these syntaxes right over here. In the first place, we may use the RGBA color code here, which will be having some definite value for say if we wish to have a reddish color here, then we need to make these changes. In the first place, for this R channel, we will be setting this full volume of color. For this green channel, it will be 0. For this blue channel, it will be 0 again, and the alpha opacity is now set to 1 into the maximum condition. So it is now 1. Press Ctrl S, hold back, reload, and you can see that this will be the result. So this is how you may make changes into your background shortened properties. You are practically free to change any of these background properties using this background shortened syntax right over here. Now we have discussed something about this background properties. Rest of those things have practically been discussed previously into our tutorials. And in the next case, we will be using some very powerful features of CSS3, which is known as the CSS blending mode and filter mode operations. Stay tuned.